Hello, good evening, everyone. We'd like to thank you for joining us this evening. We want to introduce first the Honorable Tanae Farbit, Minister of Social Development and Seniors. And with her this evening, we have Mr. Alfred Mabry, the Director of Child and Family Services. And in tonight's show, we're going to be looking at updates on ministry initiatives and what we can look forward in the upcoming months. So, Minister, I'll leave it to you and Mr. Mabry. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dana. I want to first start by thanking you for joining us this evening on our monthly ministry update, which is Let's Get Social. We did not have one in January, but we are back to resume with February's Let's Get Social monthly update. I want to take this opportunity to thank Mr. Mabry, who is the Director for Child and Family Services, for joining us this evening. But what I'm going to do is just share an end of year report, which would include the months of August to December of 2021 in regards to what the ministry had been up to. And then we'll go into some other sort of things that we want you to be aware of. I'm just going to share the words from myself in regards to this end of year report. So this year I've had the opportunity to connect with many valuable persons in our community. And it's brought a sparkle to my eye to see the many great works of the many people in our community. All those persons in the service area who help to make this world a better place. But yet there are still many more things that we can do to continue to make this world a better place. So it's been an honor and a privilege to serve as the Minister for Social Development and Seniors and to listen to the concerns of many and help and guide persons. I also want to take the time to thank all the staff of the Ministry of Social Development and Seniors who work tirelessly on behalf of the people in Bermuda. There's a quote that I heard, and it says, "When you do nothing, you feel overwhelmed and powerless. But when you get involved, you feel the sense of hope and accomplishment that comes from knowing you are working to make things better." And I would have to say, particularly in this ministry and all of the ministries, that we are always working to try to make things better. And that is a quote from Maya Angelou. Our ministry is committed to ensuring the well-being of our children, adults, seniors, disadvantaged, vulnerable persons. And we look forward to listening to the concerns of our seniors and persons in our community so we can adequately address their needs. And I have to say, Mabry, I've had lots of people reach out to me, and particularly seniors who have, wanted to share their hardships and how, we can help to make things better. So again, I want to just send a big thank you to those persons that do reach out to me. In any way they find me, Mabry, whether it be telephoning in the office, whether they get me on Facebook or Instagram, you know, there are many ways to reach out. And I just want to thank everyone who does reach out. As far as the ministry statement, our statement is to the protection of all individuals during their lifetime and facilitation of well-being. Our objectives remain to develop and implement policy to facilitate access, social cohesion, growth and development, individual responsibility, a better quality of life, greater inclusiveness and diversity, and civil engagement in the community, and to ensure the provision of social development services are effective and valuable and outcome driven. We also, as an objective, protect and enhance the rights of children, adults, seniors, disadvantaged and the vulnerable persons, and also help to build safe and healthy families and communities. We have also continued to work collaboratively with the third sector, maintaining meetings. It's a meeting every other month where we engage with the third sector so that they can share with us any concerns, initiatives that they have on the table, so that government is aware of those sorts of items. We're just going to go into some areas while I have Mr. Mabry gracing my presence this evening, in regards to some things that we have done legislatively. And one of those things was the intercountry adoption. And I think but this is something that we've been working on for a while. And what we had the opportunity to do last year is to address the issues in regards to intercountry adoption. And we were able to approve two jurisdictions, that being Jamaica and Trinidad, um, to approve them as an approved jurisdiction. And maybe if you just want to just elaborate on what that means for persons in Bermuda who want to be able to adopt from these countries or have an interest in adopting, because we actually approved those jurisdictions because we had persons who were interested in adopting children from those two countries. Do you want to
Okay.
elaborate on the intercountry adoption?
Sure. Just so that people get some clarification on an approved jurisdiction is an overseas jurisdiction which is party to the Hague Convention on the Protection of Children and Cooperation in respect of intercountry adoptions. My lights in here are on a timer, so they jump in and off. If I don't move, they shut off. In relation to intercountry adoptions. And so what often happens is that some countries are not party to the Hague Convention, but they may not be on a restricted list. If they're not on a restricted list, then they can be put on an approved jurisdiction list by the respective other countries. And so that's what we had to do because we have several requests, primarily coming from Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago for adoptions. And they may be persons who are married to a Bermudian and they have children that want to be adopted by the Bermudian parent or spouse. And so in order for that to happen, they had to be placed, we had to create the approved jurisdiction for them. And those countries, we have to do the research to make sure that they are not on the restricted list, and they weren't. So that made it possible for us to go ahead and put them, create the opportunity for them to be on that approved jurisdiction list. And so that just opened the door to allow people to adopt from those countries. And it also allows for any adoption done in those countries to be accepted by Bermuda. So if someone does an adoption in one of those countries and then they come to Bermuda, it's accepted as the child being their adopted child, and they don't have to go through the process all over again here in Bermuda. So that's the best part about the intercountry or the approved jurisdiction legislation, and so that has done a great thing because we have several people who have wanted to adopt from those countries.
Thank you, Director Mabry. I just have a question. If you could just let the listening audience this evening know approximately how many adoptions do we do locally and overseas?
Last year, we actually did 37 adoptions. And then we have a lot of consultation. So a lot of people come and ask about adoptions. So we had 21 that were people just coming to find out about it. 4 of those regarded overseas adoptions. And that number is growing. And right now we have about 16 open cases of people wishing to adopt. It is a process that requires a lot of documentation, a lot of work behind the scenes before you even get to court. And so people would have to first be vetted and placed on the adoption register. Once they are on the register, then the process really begins. You have to do a home study. It's a whole lot of medical information, financial information, because one of the things that has to be shown to the court is that you can actually afford to have a child, because the child, once the adoption is final, the child is all yours. And that means you have full financial and every aspect of a parent for the child. And so part of that process is to look at whether or not people can actually afford to have a child or children in their house. So when it comes to the spousal adoptions, most times that's very straightforward, because in some cases the children have been living with the parents anyway, and so it's not difficult to work out whether or not, I mean, they've been affording it all that time. But when you have individuals who may not have any children or any sort of connection like that, then those reports become vital. And most of the time, people have to fill it out themselves. We give them the support in assisting them in doing that. And if it looks like it's something that may be complicated, we may tell them that you should just consult a lawyer, so that you can make sure all of your I's are dotted and T's are crossed in that process. So we have quite a few people that come and inquire, and then we have a good many that actually do adopt.
One of the questions that did come up when we were first introducing this, Director Mabry, was whether or not persons who are guest workers or persons who are persons who are PRC status, are they able to adopt children through the adoption legislation? And if you can speak to that as well.
Yeah, they can adopt. And we've had that on occasion. Not too often does that happen, but yes, they can adopt a child. It's the same process, and we have to. That's where the whole Hague Convention part becomes important, because when those individuals go back to their home country, then we have to make sure that that adoption has everything in order, so that there are no complications with the child entering that other jurisdiction. And so, yeah, they can do that. Sometimes we have guest workers who actually adopt a child that's non-Bermudian. It may be a relative's child that they want to adopt. We do have that as well, from outside of the jurisdiction. And all of the research in relation to that is the same. We must have the consents of the parents. And if someone says, well, I don't know where the father is, it's then on us to do a extensive search for that parent. And that means putting ads in foreign newspapers, utilizing the internet so that we can prove and show to the court that every effort has been made to find this parent, to get their consent for the child to be adopted.
And those are great checks and balances that we have to do to make sure that we're staying within the guidelines of adoption, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Because one of the big problems uh, in the world today is the whole issue of children being bought and sold, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And so we have to make sure that everything checks out, and that if the father says it's the father, we need to be able to prove that that was the father whose signature is on the document. Yeah.
Yes, you do. You bring up a great point because I know in jurisdictions, many other jurisdictions in regards to human trafficking, when you speak of children, persons being brought and sold, you have to do your checks and balances to make sure that children are protected overall. I just wanted to bring up another point because adoption is not something that we should take as being something slight. Persons who adopt take on the responsibility, and it's a lifelong responsibility to a commitment to a child. And once you adopt, there's no turning back. There's no turning back. You are the legal parent of
Yeah,
that child until they are an adult.
that's right.
Yes.
And there are times that some adoptive parents come back and say, "Can you take the child back?" And we say, "No, there's no return to sender.
There's
The,
no
the
return
child the
policy,
child is
no
yours."
warranty.
And
Yes.
so we would give them whatever supports they need, because one of the things that happens with every adopted child, the question of why um, comes up. Why was I adopted?
Mm,
What was wrong with me that you gave me up? Fortunately, now with the new Adoption Act, some of those records are opened to adoptees so that they can see and get a whole lot of information, unless the person giving the child up for adoption says, "I don't want any communication or any contact." If that happens, then we have to honor that. But we do give a lot of background and medical information so that that child knows if there's any type of family history of anything medically. They're aware of that um, going forward. It's not like many years ago where it was all kept, where none of the information could be released, and that uh, posed some problems for a lot of adoptees.
mhm.
And to this day, we have people who often write and say, "I was adopted in Bermuda. Um, can I have information on who my natural parents were?" And sometimes those natural parents are still alive, and we may contact them and indicate uh, what's been requested, and they have the say of either it's yes or no. But once the adoption is done, the child is legally uh, that of the adoptive parents.
And I just want to take this opportunity because we need to continue to make aware the importance of parental responsibility. And whatever opportunity I can get to share that, I would like to. And parental responsibility means providing a home for a child. And I'm only going to share some because we could go on and on and on about what parental responsibility is. But providing a home for a child, a safe one, protecting and providing for the needs and maintaining a child, and that we can encompass financially into that as well. Choosing and providing for the child's education, ensuring proper emotional, physical health needs and health care. And that is that we can elaborate on that, and we could go
Hmm.
into lengthy discussions in regards to what that means, because you see Director Mabry, I see persons in our community see how parental responsibility varies, correct?
Very much so. And some people think parental responsibility is only applies when they're young and they're cute,
Mm,
and you can say, oh, look at that nice little thing they did. And when they get older and those little nice things are not so nice, some people think that parental responsibility means I give them up, and you, the director of Child and Family Services, has to take care of them. And we have that. We've had parents come on a Friday at 5 o'clock with trash bags and the child and say, here you go, you take them because I've had enough. And some of those cases we've said, no, you take them and let's work it out and figure out what needs to happen so that you and your child can have a better relationship, and let's work from there. So parental responsibility is not just for the good times, it's for all times. And parents unfortunately sometimes believe that when it gets too tough, hey, send them over to that other guy and let him take care of them. And we have that. We had that right up to this last weekend. And I got messages on the weekend from my staff that, hey, we got to find space because we have children that the mama put them out, something like that, and we have to care and protect those children, but somehow work through a lot of the challenges and issues that are faced. So the responsibility is 24/7, 365, and 66 on a leap year. That parents have to recognize that, and it's not easy. We
mm,
we we have a lot of children now who have a lot of challenges, and that's sometimes difficult for parents. And we see those, and we do our best to assist them. But there are some times that the parents can't cope, and it is necessary for the child to get either medical care or some other care. But the whole idea is that the parents must stay involved because that's all about parenting.
yes,
So
in good times and bad times.
that's right. Everybody likes the good times,
Yes.
but it's those bad times that are a real challenge
Hmm.
that people give up and say, "Hey, man, I can't do this anymore." And we understand that, but at the same time, when those challenges come, you can't give up on the child, and so we have to work through it and work with people to get through a lot of that. We're often called the baby snatchers, but we don't want to be the parents. I always say that the government's not a good parent. Um, Parents are the best parents, not the government. And so we want people to do their best. We work with them to parent their children.
Thank you, Director Mabry, for sharing that information. So I want to encourage all potential persons who are seeking to adopt to prepare and do your
Mhm.
research and discuss your concerns with the Department of Child and Family Services and recognize beforehand the rewards and the various changes that a child brings to one's existing lifestyle. And also, if there are any questions in regards to parenting, I also encourage um, you to reach out to Department of Child and Family Services and the Child Development Program as well, because they have also lots of resources to help parents through the parenting process.
Yeah.
I'm just going to move on in regards to something else that we've progressed, and that is the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities in Bermuda. We had to prepare a table which showed where Bermuda's strengths and weaknesses were, and then we had to, it's called a transposition table, And we had to share that table as well as write a letter through the premier, which would go to the governor in regards to the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities to be extended to Bermuda. So I can confirm that that letter has been sent, as well as the table has been sent to the governor, so that we can progress having the extension given to Bermuda. I have to get an update to see how long a process like that would take. It could take a while, but we have done our part in regards to getting that information to the governor so that that extension can be offered to us here in Bermuda. I just want to just speak to some other projects and initiatives. In 2021, while we were going through the pandemic, and SafeKey was still an option for persons, that the ministry did support persons in our community who had problems with access to SafeKey. So you didn't have access to a computer, or you didn't have access to a printer. We did provide persons who had difficulty gaining access to the actual SafeKey document. We did provide for that for many persons in our community. And so now that SafeKey is not a requirement at this time, that particular service has ceased. However, we've still been getting requests for persons who need access to get their vaccination certificate. For those establishments who are asking for that information. But as far as the SafeKey is concerned, as that no longer being a requirement, we will not be providing for the SafeKeys any longer. But we're happy to say that when that was something that was needed, the ministry did provide for that. In 2021, we also offered dementia help cards to persons in our community, and I know persons did stop by the office to pick them up. These help cards are designed for persons with dementia to be able to carry to help to make information about them available for when they needed help or assistance. And I believe we still have some left. So if anyone is interested in having some, we did share them with the Bermuda Police Service community program. They have requested some to give out, and so we did share that with them. But we still have some on hand at the office if you're interested in collecting those. Also wanted to say we celebrated the International Day for the Eliminations of Violence Against Women, and this ministry was responsible for lighting up the cabinet office in awareness of International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women. And we lit it up orange. And so I also want to share that February, even though it's Valentine's month, it's Black History Month, I believe it's also Heart Month. As far as awareness campaigns are concerned, it is also Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month. And tomorrow is a day in which you can wear orange to demonstrate that you support teens in having healthy relationships, and that you don't support the roots of violence, particularly as it relates to this month being Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month. So bring out your orange something tomorrow to show that you support our teens in making good choices as it relates to healthy relationships. I did mention in regards to community engagement that we did meet with the third sector, and we continue to meet with the third sector every other month, particularly while we're in the midst of our global pandemic. It was our focus to engage grassroots third sector charities and to support the vulnerable. And we use this as the time to understand the needs and gaps within our community, and to assist our service users with needs. And so if people contacted us in regards to hardships as it related to food, we were able to share information. We were able to share information as it related to what the charities were offering. So some charities were offering access to medication, access to signing up for vaccinations or the booster or testing. Lots of third sector groups out there were providing for food supply. And so we are remaining to stay connected to the third sector to make sure that we are in touch with the needs and gaps within our community. And I want to take this time to also highlight some of our social media promotions. Let's Get Social being one of them. And again, we'll be doing this monthly. It's a ministry update in regards to things that we are working on. We have in the on our bucket list, Director Mabry, we're trying to iron out the Children in Care Advisory Council, which you'll be hearing more information about soon, as well as the Independent Living Transition Program, which we are working very diligently on the details of these two programs. Did you want to speak to any of that yet, Mr. Mabry, or we can wait?
No, sure. And on the independent living, I think hopefully in the next quarter, I would hope, we should be up and running. We have identified a good location for the young people. And so now it's just a matter of finishing off some of the final touches in all of that. The programming part has been completed. And so we're just waiting for the final bits and pieces to come together, because you're dealing with several different ministries on this. And so once we get that done, that'll be a milestone for some of our young people who have been in care, who may not have the kind of ties to families where they can go back to them. A lot of children who are in care end up staying with their foster parents. The foster parents agree that the young person can stay with them. And we've made arrangements a few years ago. We made arrangements with financial assistance to pick up from DCFS, because once the child turns 18 by law, DCFS cannot provide the financial support. We do provide, counseling and those kinds of things. We still stay involved if the individual wishes to continue with that, but we cannot provide the financial support. And so financial assistance will pick up and assist in that. And we have a special provision that's outlined there for young people that can stay with the foster parents. But there are some who choose that, I'm 18, I'm an adult, let me go, let me fly. But then they soon realize that sometimes when you fly out of the nest, it's not so easy to get back up to that height and get back in the nest. And so this is more or less a safety net for young people who are aging out of DCFS, but they want to spread their wings a bit, but still have some safety around them. And so within the next, hopefully 3 or 4 months, we will have that live and ready to roll. It's going to be very interesting and exciting, but it's something that some of our young people need. And one of the things we want to do is make sure that they have every opportunity to be as successful as possible. And so during the time that they're with us, they are nurtured, and they're everything is basically done for them. And this is an opportunity now for the training to really kick in on doing for yourself, and putting to test some of the skills you've learned whilst you were in care. And so that's what this program is all about. It allows for continuing education. It allows for job opportunities, and then it allows for the young person to be free in one respect, but also recognize that there are responsibilities with that freedom and how they have to maintain that. So that's coming sooner rather than later. And I think it's something that we'll be happy to see finally come into reality. And so we're looking forward to that happening, and helping to set young people on a new path that allows them to be able to become independent.
Yes.
Uh,
I'm very excited about that initiative as well. I don't know if you had the opportunity to read in the paper here recently. I think it was on Burn News. I saw it, the Transformational Living Center, which is on Parsons Road. I did
yes.
have the opportunity to visit, and I have to say that it's such an inspirational program to be able to fill a gap, to prevent even the issue of homelessness. And we talk about persons who
Mm-hmm.
are at the age of 18 not having a family to go to after they age out, and now having the opportunity to have a place in which they could go to, the place that we have available to us. I think, I mean, it's an awesome place and abode for someone to be able to lay their head at night and feel comfortable and feel safe, and to feel um, private. And so I'm looking forward to that coming into fruition. And it's interesting because the Transformational Living Center, Director Mabry, still has boundaries, and they
Yes.
still have, because what we're trying to do is make sure that when you're living together with persons, that you still have to respect person's space and person's living space, and you still have to have relationships with other people, and um, take care of property, and
Yes.
your own property plus the property in which you are living in. And
Mm-hmm.
you still have to govern yourself accordingly, respecting your boundaries and other person's boundaries as well. And so I think the idea transitional, meaning you're building your capacity and your skills so that you will be a successful citizen in the community, being more responsible. And it's interesting, Mabry, because I believe that becoming an adult, it's such an incredible journey. But we become 18, we still don't know everything. We still have to experience this life and this human experience. And so what you may have thought you knew when you were 13, 14, you reach a maturation period as you get older, because at some certain point you're just not ready to receive certain responsibility, or even thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
or behaviors. But as you get older, I think it's important that we're providing for supports, across a spectrum of a lifetime, and this being one, for the young adult. And so we're happy that this is going to happen.
Yeah.
I also,
And And
Go ahead.
a lot of times our young people don't recognize that often when you walk in a room and you hit the switch and the lights come on, you just take it for granted that the lights are there. And so this shows the opportunity for them to learn that in order for that light to come on, it's a Bowker bill that has to be paid, and it's learning all of those things. You go to the refrigerator and it's full, but it's full because your parents or the foster parents or someone else has stocked it, and so now it's something that you have to do. And as much as we may assist with providing the avenue for you to obtain the food, um, it's up to you. And then it's what food you buy, because you can't live off of potato chips. And I mean, those are great snacks, but they're not the things that are going to be able to sustain you, and give you all the nourishment you need. So, whilst as children, it's all done for you. This is the opportunity where you learn how to do a lot of those things for yourself. And you speaking about the uh, new um, place that's just opening. It is always good to see when the community gets together, a community part, and does something to assist those that might be in need, and not always looking for the government to do it. And
Yes.
so that is a very good um, program that has come into play, and that only allows for more people to get the hand up that
Yes.
they require in order to do things and improve on their lot. So, kudos to all of those involved in putting that together, and I hope they see all of the successes that they're looking for in that program.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. It was a beautiful thing to see mothers with their children, mothers who have been displaced, and
Mm-hmm.
because of their displacement, they've displaced their children from different things. And so now we're seeing, the transformation, the transition of them now, being incorporated back into school, back into activities. And so all these things that make that parental responsibility we were talking about earlier
Mm-hmm.
stable and sound.
Right.
So I also just wanted to share as far as the social media platforms that we have. We also do a monthly talk radio with um, Magic 102.7 with Mr. Glenn Blakeney, and that's also once a month. The third, well, was the third Thursday of the month. We're actually going to be changing that to the third Wednesday of the month at 3 p.m. And that's to make sure that we stay in touch with topics as it relates to our seniors. And that is the golden hour. Come February 17th, we will be having a panel discussion
Mm.
in regards to disability, equity, and equality. And we have quite a bit of panelists that will be joining us. Sherilyn, Lily, Thea Ferbert, Alicia Zul. I'm trying to think. Human Rights Commission, Lisa Reed, Keith Simmons, and we'll be discussing the topic. Did I forget anybody? Thea Ferbert, I think I said. So,
Mm-hmm.
Margaret Phillips, who's the administrator or principal of Dame Marjorie Bean Hope Academy, and we're gonna broach that topic about disability and why it matters, and discrimination and what that looks like, and you know making sure what do we need for equity and equality amongst the disabled population. So very much looking forward to that. Looking forward to having more panel discussions in that area. I want to also thank all those persons in our community who have replied to the call of our expression of interest for litigation guardians. We did get quite a number of persons who expressed an interest. We cannot select all of the persons who applied. The minister does appoint a panel. The court or the magistrate is the one who will deem whether it's necessary for a litigation guardian to be part of a court proceedings for a child. But we, again, the overwhelming response for persons in our community interested in litigation guardians, I just want to say thank you. Again, I will can select all those persons who applied, but it will definitely give us a varied look at persons who can be able to serve as litigation guardians. I want to also take this time to just let the community know that we will be looking for persons to fill our Family Mediation Council. And so we'll be doing a press release about that, looking for expressions of interest for persons who can assist us with the Family Mediation Council. That Family Mediation Council comprises of 5 members, of at least 2 shall be men, so we need our men to come forward, and at least 2 shall be women. Women come forward. We need persons who are qualified and experienced as family mediators. We'll also be looking for someone who is part of the medical profession and a person who is qualified as a social worker to be a part of that Family Mediation Council. And the Family Mediation Council has a role pertaining to the act. What we are working on right now as far as the Family Mediation Council is to put in place the structure of what it looks like for a licensed family mediator. What that qualification is, what that code of practice, standards of practice is, or that code of conduct is. And, we'll be looking for that council to assist in that aspect. But what the council's function is to provide guidance and direction to persons who wish to qualify as a family mediator, determine applications by persons wishing to be licensed as a family mediator, establishing and maintaining a register of licensed family mediators, and develop and maintain common standards for family mediation. And it's a whole lot of other functions that can be found within the Act, the Family Mediation Council's acts.
Yeah, that's going to be a very useful tool once that is all put in place. Mediation is something that's very, very important, especially for the courts in trying to find common ground and assist people so that they're not wrangled or tangled in long legal proceedings. So that's going to be a very good service to have put in place. The council, whose overriding responsibility is to make sure that all of the standards, like you said, are maintained, and they'll make sure that it is a good service. So that's going to be something that has been worked on for a few years now. And so we're looking to really have that put in place so that we can have, again, more tools in the toolbox to assist families and the community as a whole on resolving issues. So that's going to be a very good tool that the community is going to have at their disposal.
Yes, and thank you for sharing that, Mabry. So please look out for that press statement in regards to family mediation, mediators. Just trying to look for something here. There is a group here that is training family mediators. It is the Bermuda Conflict Resolution Institute. Dane, I'm just going to put in the chat their contact information so we could put it up on the screen. Which can be a great resource for persons in our community who are interested in being family mediators. So I'm going to wrap it up. I want to thank Director Mabry. I encourage him to come back, he or someone from his team to come back. We have a wealth of information. Particularly, I want the community to learn a lot more about the Department of Child and Family Services, who do great things despite what we may hear in the public. We want to improve the platform of the services that are provided through the Department of Child and Family Services. So you'll see going across the screen right now, it just dropped. This is the website in regards to getting more information in regards to training for family mediation. So I just wanted to share that link with you. I want to just close by sharing some feedback that we have gotten to the ministry in regards to the work that we are doing within this ministry. And someone mentioned, we want to thank you and your team for the very important work that you do every day. The DCFS team are the most caring and compassionate people that you want to meet, and they are committed. They come to court with not just professionalism, but also a very vested interest on how our kids are. It is an understatement that these are challenging times. We want to thank Minister and her colleagues. Thank you for all you do to help seniors and their families. We appreciate your hard work. We look forward to working together to support the ministry's groundbreaking vision. Thank you, Minister, for your work, your connectedness, and your efforts. I'm very grateful to be connected to you and make sure you stay in touch with us. And so I just want to thank everyone that have submitted community feedback. We like to hear that, maybe, don't we? Because a lot of times we hear, you hear the negative feedback, and we like to hear the positive feedback as well.
I indicated to my staff the other day, I think one of the problems is that they too often make it look easy. And then when people do come in, and we've had people who've joined our staff, and a month or so into it, they said, "Wow, I didn't know you all did all this work." And I say, "Yeah, because the community only sees one part, but they don't see all of the things that happen behind the scenes to assist families, and they only the things that may blow up are what's put out in the public domain, but there's so much good work that gets done that people need to recognize does happen, and I applaud the staff of DCFS, because it's been very, very challenging, especially through all of COVID, to be able to provide services and still at the same time maintain your own health. So I applaud the staff who have done, I think, a human job in still providing services to our children and families.
Thank you, Director Mabry. I'd like to echo that as well. I'd like to echo those sentiments as well, because I know that it can be very challenging, very and difficult dealing with particularly conflict resolution. People's children are, mean everything to them. And, it can be a very, I'm sure, emotional roller coaster with ups and downs. People having to understand other person's perspectives, looking out for the interest of children. So again, I want to echo Director Mabry's sentiments in regards to just thanking the staff. I want to remind everyone again about the Disability Equity and Equality panel discussion that's occurring February 17th at 6 p.m. on CITV and Facebook. And also, if there are any questions that you have for us this evening, if they didn't pop up through the Facebook mediums or Twitter, please send us an email at axus@gov.bm. Again, that email is axus@gov.bm. And so we will end it right there. Thank you again, Director Mabry, for joining us this evening. I have to say, it was a short notice when you came to the table. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Look, thank you for listening this evening in regards to the end of year report for 2021. We're going into budget season now, and so you'll be hearing about initiatives as well within the budget for the Ministry of Social Development and Seniors. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.